This is The Neutral Position, hosted by Nick Palmisano, bringing honesty and reason back into conversation. Here's your host, Nick Palmisano.
Hey guys, welcome to The Neutral Position. Today I have Candace Cielo, but it actually is spelled Cielo. So I don't know where the S comes from, but apparently that's how she pronounces it. You were a badass in the military. You have a badass friend behind camera making sure that I don't get out of line. Your husband's a badass. You spent a whole bunch of time in U.A.E. helping Afghans get out. But the first thing that I want to ask you about is how you dealt with being with the ultimate badass, Sean Lee.
You know, he is now my mentor. No, Sean's an amazing person, great friend, great person, and a great leader. Yeah, he was easy to work with, and I love someone who's a straight shooter, and you don't have to worry, what are they thinking? So with Sean,
you never have to worry. You
Never have to worry what Sean Lee's thinking ever.
Yeah, isn't that great? I can deal with that all day long, right?
So tell us about yourself.
Well, so I was, I guess, a badass in the Army?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? No.
That's the rumor. That is the rumor.
It is a rumor. It's a bad rumor. You probably started that, didn't you, Hollywood?
I cannot acknowledge or deny any facts that might have been brought out before you got here.
No. So I played basketball at Georgetown, and
That's the Hoyas.
Yeah.
That's it.
I learned that when I was up there 2
Who do you
weeks
think's
ago.
better at basketball,
Hoyas?
me or you?
Oh, it's very close. I would say it was close. It depends on if we were using.
Are we calling fouls?
Yeah, if it's wrestle ball, I feel like I have it.
If it's a double blast,
if
those
it's
are legal.
do you know wrestle ball?
I don't.
So wrestlers play basketball. It's actually a thing. We have no wrestling skill. The rules are, though, you can like tackle each other and pick each other up and
Right.
throw each other on the ground.
Is there a height limit on that?
You basically have to be short. We don't let tall people play, you know?
And this is what he does all the time. He'll ask you a question, and you'll say about 3 or 4 words.
And then I just cut you off.
And then he cuts off and
I
starts.
love it.
So tell us about your basketball career.
Tell us about yourself.
I heard you were in some big games playing the basketball, so to speak.
We were good. We had an amazing team, actually. We were the Big East co-champs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Co-champs?
Co-champs with Miami.
Shouldn't there be
Miami.
some kind of like
playoff, you would
fight,
think.
you know?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even just like fisticuffs.
That
Like
would've been
whoever's
fun.
toughest is
Yeah.
the champ.
Is that
I would've-
Miami, Ohio, or Miami, Florida?
Miami, Florida. I'd have rather gone fisticuffs with UConn. Got to be honest with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've got beef with UConn?
Always have, always will. No offense, guys. But yeah, we were pretty big.
What
rivals.
makes UConn the worst?
Oh, this is gonna bring up some old grudges.
That's what this show's about. That's what this show's about.
Yeah. Tell me about how UConn sucks.
So they were actually pretty phenomenal, and Gino is a great coach, and they had a great squad. Pam Weber was the sweetest person.
You're
She
being
was their
you're
point
no,
guard.
Let's get
I'm
to
getting
it.
to the best stuff. I'm getting to it. So I am only 6 feet tall.
Right.
Fair enough. And so, but
Yeah.
the girls we played against, there is a girl which you may have heard of. Her name's Rebecca Lobo.
Mm-hmm.
She was on the opposing team. We were the same age and everything. So guarding her, she's 6'4", 6'5".
She that
Oh yeah, she's a big girl. Wow. And so I didn't have much of a chance. So to play against her, she didn't hit her average when we played against them, usually because I didn't play dirty at all. But when you're cutting across the lane, like I know she wants to cut across the lane, and I can't have a 6'5" girl post in front of me, and I can't get in front of her because she's going to get a lob. So what I learned to do was stop her from going where she wanted to go.
Gotcha.
And you know that's a little rougher than people play.
Than people are used to.
Yeah. So, and then at UConn, I mean, we beat UConn at UConn.
That's huge.
Unheard of.
I'm not a basketball guy, but I know
Yeah,
that's
you
a big
know that.
deal.
Yeah. So no, but they've got a great program. They really do. I don't have real grudges.
But you would fight Lobo if you had to.
I would bump him with my bumper
But
of
would,
my
like-
car accidentally.
Like, is she on a list of women that you would fight, though? Like, if it was like you get to fight somebody in the UFC main event, who are you fighting?
Ooh, that's a good question. It wouldn't be the girl sitting behind the camera.
No.
'cause
Is she
would
tough?
Take me out.
Is she tough?
Yeah, but she's tiny, but she's tough. She'd take me out the kneecap.
Yeah.
Candace,
Yes, sir.
if you hit your hands on the table one more time,
Nothing will happen because he's a teddy bear of a man. But it does make it hard for
for
the
the editors.
Okay, I'll behave. I don't want that on there.
We'll just cut that and have that outrageous laughter, and no one will have any clue what's going on.
Stop tapping
So
hands.
who would you fight?
You know, I would have to go against someone really tough, so they'd knock me out right away, and I wouldn't have to deal with the rest of it. You know, like
That's not a good policy. That's a
yeah,
bad policy.
Yeah.
So you have no grudges that you want to like work out?
It takes too much energy to have a
That's
grudge.
good. I have.
It really does.
I have the same policy, but I would still be able to very quickly find people I would
Yeah.
like to punch.
Yeah.
But-
You know, I'm gonna get back on. I'm gonna circle back around on
Yeah.
that one.
That was very officer.
If I start
right
tapping
there.
my fingers on the wood,
You-
you're gonna know.
I'm going to circle
I'm
back
gonna
around.
circle back.
We'll do a deep dive, and then we'll circle back,
Hollywood,
Nick.
it would behoove us to move on to the next question.
It would. See, this right here, this is why I interviewed him at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't wait till he got back and
Yeah.
slept all night, because I would have got of, Hollywood, I'm going to circle back to that question you just asked me. That's exactly why.
That was pretty epic, though. That interview. That was well timed.
Yeah,
raw emotion. That was pretty smart.
He got me.
Yeah.
He got me. I
Yeah,
was
that's
pissed
good.
at the time. I was really mad.
Yeah,
but
that
It was
really
1 o'clock in the morning. You've
I
been
was
on an airplane
yeah.
for 2 days.
I was like, "Hey, it's my wife," and she's like, "Surprise! It's Hollywood."
That is not
That's not what I wanted.
But the
at
best
all.
part was, you know, I'm like, "Hey, bro, we're going to go back to the office, and I'm going to interview you." And he's looking to her for help, and she's like, "I really think you should."
She's English. It makes it worse. But yeah, so you become an officer
I did.
after wrecking fools in basketball.
I did. Actually, I got out. You know, I thought I wanted to. I did a stint. I did like a paid internship on Capitol Hill. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. And then I snuck into West News down in Orlando, the NBC affiliate.
Yeah.
And I literally snuck into the building, and I went to the bathroom and handed out my resume, and I got and paid an internship there as the
Wow.
PA. Is there anything
That's-
lower than an intern PA?
No, but that's still ballsy though.
It was. Well,
I respect that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So that was great, and then I realized that I didn't want to. I didn't like the way the local news. We kind of led people. Like if there was a break-in the neighborhood, it'd be like, "So aren't you scared for your safety now?" And they'd be like, "I'm really scared for my safety now," you know. And just some stuff. One of the flights went down in the Everglades.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they caught on fire. Was it WestJet? Value Jet.
It was Value Jet.
Value
that's right.
Jet.
And a professional football player died.
Man,
I believe.
Hollywood, do you just know all the things?
You know why it went down? Someone put
Hollywood?
lithium batteries in their checked luggage,
Oh, no kidding.
and the terminals contacted each other and set a fire.
Wow.
That's why every time you get on, you're going through security, they say, "Do you have any lithium batteries in your
e-cigarettes.
check?" Yeah, or e-cigarettes, because of those
Yeah.
lithium batteries caused that fire.
When Hollywood gets serious, he pronounces all his H's, so Y becomes why.
Might be true.
That is a good interrogation.
That's his tell.
little-
That's his tell. When he's
I'm gonna keep
serious,
that, yeah.
you start hearing the.
Where's that from? Where's that accent from, Hollywood?
Well, I'm from Texas, Sweetwater, Texas, but I don't very much have an accent most of the time.
You know, if you can turn a single syllable word into 2 syllables, you are really a Southerner.
Well, if you can say, "Did you eat yet?" and that means
Yeet yet?
something. That means something. You want to? You know,
A bar?
it's a whole different language.
It really is. It is. Well, when I went to Georgetown, you have to be fluent. I was at the School of Foreign Service,
Uh-huh.
and they tell you have to be fluent in a foreign language to graduate from this particular school.
So what'd you pick?
I asked for Southern, and they said no. I was like, look, they put subtitles up on some of these shows now. Like, I was in the right in retrospect, yeah. But I learned.
Have you ever seen? There's like a etymological study of where the different accents come from, and Southern actually comes from English more than like the New England accent.
I'll be darned.
And they basically show you how if you slow down the English accent, it turns into the Southern accent. And so you took people from urban areas and put them in the South where it was more farming and life was a little slower, and the tendency was to speak slower because there was less urgency. And so it's like the English accent slowed down, and it blew my mind because I always think New England is probably the closest, but no, it was wild. So if you,
For those of you out there who have no idea what etymological means, it means relating to the origin and historical development of words and their meanings.
You can tell me I can have a phone to cheat with. Or
yeah, that's what he does. He's a dirty cheater. That's what Hollywood is.
But not a liar.
But not a snitch. Sorry. I'm
goodness.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. The
okay.
show's half just in existence for Hollywood and I to
Just to
talk
amuse
back and forth. And
I'm glad I could watch.
So you are fluent in, I know it was a good setup for a joke, but like,
I was fluent in Spanish. I am now conversational.
yeah, I know how it goes.
Yeah, because you don't use it, you lose
You don't
it.
use it, yep.
Pero yo aprendí español en Puerto Rico. So, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Hace pasaron muchos años. It's
I
been
mean,
a long
that's
time.
solid though. That's good, like good cadence and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's been a while though.
So you graduate,
I did.
you become the
So,
intern, the secret intern.
Yeah.
How did you end up in the military?
so I actually was recruited for basketball. In my 5 schools, you get 5 recruiting trips legally.
Yep.
And of my 5, Georgetown, West Point, Dartmouth, Brown, and Wake Forest. And I
So
wanted.
you're a smart kid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
You
It's
can just
okay
say
to
yes.
admit it.
You
Just
can
say yes.
I'm smart.
Yeah, I can hold my own most times.
Yeah.
And so I actually really wanted to go to West Point. My dad was in the military. Both my brothers were at the Coast Guard Academy. I really wanted to go to West Point. I loved it. I loved the environment. It's hard to go there and just witness that, just esprit de corps and the discipline and not be inspired. But my brother Michael said, nope, we will transfer semesters, because you can transfer in between academies.
Yep.
He's like, we will transfer, we will get our friends to transfer, we will haze you, and we will make you quit. He's like, just go to Georgetown, enjoy your college career, and if you want to go in, you can always go in OCS, Officer Candidate School. And so eventually that's what I did. I realized that, I still had that calling and urgency to serve. And so I enlisted with the OCS option, Officer Candidate School, and that's how I did it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is great because I actually re-met my husband at Benning. He was at the advanced course. And tell me where this is leading. I was in E4, promoted to E5 for OCS, and he was a captain.
Uh-oh.
But we had I knew him at Georgetown. We were friends.
Yeah.
I mean, he dated half my teammates, but... I'm teasing. Yeah,
She's not teasing.
it is. It's kind of an ongoing joke with my husband and I. But he did date. Actually, we were just friends in college, and so when we re-met, though, it was pretty immediate because you have all that history.
Yeah.
And not many people from Georgetown go in the military.
Not many people from Georgetown are E4s.
No. And my husband he did the same thing. He enlisted, went the same exact route. I didn't know it because there wasn't really internet back then.
Yeah. And you weren't
yeah.
like tight at the time.
So this is
So were you dating at that point? Like you're an E4 and he's a
No.
captain?
Oh yeah, we did as soon as
you were
we.
Let's move on to the next.
breaking all the rules.
Fraternization. Let's not bring that
know.
subject up right here. Let's just move on if we can,
All the
okay?
rules.
He's
So-
out now, or is he still in?
He's out. He
Okay.
retired in 2013.
Okay. All
So,
right. So we're
you have to go in the Army. You had to go in enlisted
Yes.
to get an OCS spot.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
that's how it works.
Not in the Air Force. Not for the Air Force.
No, ROTC is different.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
different ways to become.
There's green to gold.
Yeah. Because that's
ROTC.
I was ROTC.
Yeah. So ROTC exists.
So that counts as what?
So, yeah,
it's
like-
whatever. So
like
then you can go in as an
My
officer.
my oldest was ROTC.
Okay.
And then became an officer.
but
He
if
did
you
not
graduate from college and you want to go to OCS,
if you're yes you enlist.
Yeah.
Well-
Why is he looking at you? I'm the one who did it.
Yeah.
He's a ring knocker.
because it's crazy. It's
The sexism from this guy is
Thank you.
ridiculous.
it's not the sexism. It's like you could get stuck as being enlisted.
You could. Actually, there was
Yeah.
a guy, we had a big class, and one of the kids did not make it through, and he stayed in E4. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and now look at you. You're acting like
That's
being
wh-
enlisted is the worst thing in
It's
the
not.
world.
My dad was
Classic,
enlisted.
classic
That's
pilot bullshit.
My dad
Classic
was enlisted.
pilot
My dad
bullshit.
was enlisted, and no one respects and knows that the enlisted run the military more than me.
But you know what I found, though, is having that little bit of experience, because it is a short period of
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
it really does give you a little perspective. My dad was enlisted.
Oh, of course.
And was, I believe he was a direct commission. Both my brothers enlisted in between their junior and senior year, because that was a time period where you could do that. So they actually enlisted, then went to the academy after they graduated.
Yep.
So all of us had enlisted prior service.
That's
and
great.
Dad
Yeah.
said, hey, listen, it's a great way to really kind of understand instead of going in and, not
One
having
of
a
my
perspective.
best friends from school did that. He was an E4, went to the prep school, the West Point prep
Oh,
school.
yeah.
And then we were roommates when we were stationed in Germany, and so
Yeah, it's a good route.
it was a great route.
But
yeah.
it's a cheap way to get people. Like, we got nothing. I mean, we didn't get our college paid for with the military. We didn't, so it's kind of the Army gets you for a dime on the dollar, really.
Yeah. So what was that like?
In the enlisted part? Or
Yeah, I mean,
being-
just the whole thing, like, going from, like, Georgetown.
Yeah.
Because I have partied at Georgetown in my youth. I know,
Yeah.
like...
I have no recollection of that. You're on.
I just
Senator,
remember...
I have
so-
no recollection
so the
of
first,
that.
The first time that I partied at Georgetown, I was there to run the Marine Corps Marathon, and the marathon was the next day. And one of my friends from high school was going there, so she like brought us to this party, and I'm like, man, this place is really nice. Like, I've never seen a college party like this.
Right.
It was being thrown by some prince that was at Georgetown. He's literally a prince.
Yep.
I was like,
We had a couple of those.
this is a weird place. It was like a penthouse, and I thought it was like somebody was renting it or something. No, it was his.
Yeah.
His family had bought the penthouse for
Yeah.
his stay at Georgia. It was wild. Anyway,
Yeah, there's a lot of wealth there, not just rich, but wealth.
Wealth.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
just-
like-
I had no idea.
like money that we don't even understand.
I still to this day can't count.
And
a
anyway, I woke up and with like 10 minutes to spare, we're like, oh shit! And we ran because the roads were now closed.
Right.
We ran to the marathon start just as it was starting. Hadn't eaten anything.
Oh,
We're a little worse for the
Right.
wear. Yeah, good times.
That's impressive.
yeah. That
Wow.
was my first marathon.
Wow, that is impressive. Can you imagine doing that now?
No, I would
I
die.
can't even have
I
two
would
glasses
die.
of wine
I would
and-
die. I would like both my knees would just fall off, like literally just shear off my body.
I don't even want
y-
to bike
you know,
26 miles
yeah,
anymore.
Yeah, just like I don't want to drive it. It's like that's a long drive. Like,
Especially, it
could
depends on
s-
what city you're in. That could be hours.
could someone else drive me? Could I Uber so I can play with my phone? It's just too far.
My first marathon was Myrtle Beach, and it was flat, easiest thing. Yeah, and
But you're tall, so it's like half the distances. Like for
really-
me,
it really was. It was
my
like
legs,
5
my
miles.
legs are doing this. You're just like, woo, this is so fun.
When did you run the Myrtle Beach Marathon?
it was 2000. I had both kids.
Oh, that's hardcore.
It was probably 2004, I think. It was
That's
either
that's
04 or
that's
05.
Dan's brother's marathon
It
that he
is-
puts together.
That is
the
Dan's
Myrtle Beach
brother.
Marathon.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
owns that marathon.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it was pretty easy. The only problem was I think I got mono, and the doc was like, yeah, you can't run it.
You
I'm
did
like,
the marathon with mono.
so I've trained for 3, and I either got deployed or something. And right around the
Yeah.
14th week, of this like 18-week program,
Mhm.
and this one was about week 15. He's like, hey, you got mono, you can't do this because the
you're-
ramifications. I'm like, let me tell you something.
I'm
I'm doing
I'm
this.
doing this.
I am doing
People
this.
don't understand how if you actually trained for it, it really is miserable.
Yeah,
Like it's a lot of running.
it's a lot of running.
Just like running for hours by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
When did you know that you were going to make it?
Oh, before I started.
All right
Yeah,
then.
I would have low crawled to finish that. I was like, no, yeah, I was gonna,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you're gonna finish. So
You're-
much can go wrong.
Yeah.
One of my worst I used to run at least one a year, believe it or not.
Nice.
But one of my worst marathon moments is my goal for the marathon was to be sub 8. That was it. That's all I
nice.
wanted was sub 8.
Yeah.
Well, felt great that day.
Mm-hmm.
So mile 1 I hit at 6:30, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to
Slow
I need to
down.
rein it in,
Right.
And then mile 2 was like 6:50, and I hit the halfway mark at like a 7:09 pace, and I'm like, I am a stud. I'm gonna crush this. It was the Atlanta Marathon, and there's like mile 15 is like it's like all downhill. So I was cranking.
Right.
My right quad pulled, and I start hopping on my left, and then my left pulls. I've never had quad pulls in my entire life,
Oh, no.
but I bit off more than I could chew on the speed,
right,
feeling,
yeah.
Yeah. It's Durham, so if someone dies.
Death in
I'm
Durham.
not joking.
Every show
podcast,
in the middle.
someone dies.
Nice. I'm one of the crowd now.
So
all right.
we have to just wait for the sirens. to
One
go.
time we walked out and police taped off the gas station here because there was a dead body in a car over there in the middle of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Makes you feel safe, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the second half of the marathon was less
stellar?
enjoyable, less fast.
Wow.
But that's how it goes
Yeah.
sometimes. And you have to finish.
Yes.
What was your worst moment?
In the marathon?
Yeah.
My daughter, who was probably 2 or 3 at the time, little, and she comes running out, and it's like mile 25 and a half, 26, and she comes running out and like jumps in my arms. And and I hadn't really run in 3 weeks because the doctor was like, don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I thought I was gonna fall on top of her, and I'm like, hey baby, and I start like tears start streaming down my face. I'm like, somebody get her. Like I'm trying to not throw her down.
Yeah, because you so desperately want to finish that. Like you're primal at that point.
Yeah.
You're like hating life. Everything's bad, but you're close.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna finish.
You're gonna finish, but like
I didn't want to carry a 30-pound child either.
that last mile's long.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, you do it, and check that off my list of things to do. I shan't be doing it again.
So you're running marathons.
Yeah.
You're signaling, right? Your first gig was Signal Corps.
Yeah.
Yep.
As an officer, your first gig was Signal Corps?
Yep.
Did you and your husband go to the same place together, or were you guys separated?
So let me tell you what
Uh-oh, here comes a good story.
I know. So we were just dating.
Yep.
And I'm glad he's out now because he might get in trouble. I don't know. So we knew immediately. It was just one of those things like, we were very lucky. I met him, and I'm like, oh, yep, this is the guy.
Music started playing.
Yeah, we saw the little fairies floating around in the hearts and stuff. So
slow motion walk.
Right, you were there. So we go. I get my orders. I was at OBC.
Yep.
After OCS,
yep.
and I get my orders to Germany, and I am stoked. Well, he just finished the Q course, and he's getting his orders, so he ends up getting Bragg. He changed my orders.
Oh, he changed your orders.
From Germany to Bragg. I was partially kind of turned on. I'm like, look at him taking charge. You know, I like because I'm pretty strong-minded. I want to be around a strong-minded man.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really cool. You took Germany away from me? Like I was pretty mad.
So he didn't want to like switch to 10th group?
No, he was pretty set on staying.
Was he 7th group?
He's 7th group. Yeah. So we ended up. I was at Bragg my whole career.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great location.
Now is probably a good time to say that Germany was probably the most fun 3.5 years of my entire life.
I have long legs. I could probably kick you under this table. I just want to throw that out there.
Please don't, because there's a huge metal divider.
Yeah,
and you just end up in the hospital.
And I'm sitting in a way that I'm protected. I'm back in the chair, and if you look under the table, my legs are hidden behind the legs.
People have tried that before, and it has not gone well. Exactly.
Yeah. So it was 2000, maybe 2010 or 11, and he had to go over for some exercise for like 6 weeks. I'm like, I pulled the kids out of school, all 3 of the kids. I'm like, we're going with you.
We're going to Germany.
So we were in Germany like 5 weeks, and he didn't have much of a say about it.
It's great.
It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It really is. We were down in Bavaria for a big chunk of it.
Yeah. I was in Hessen, so it's like more uppity.
Yeah.
Like in Bavaria.
So you fit in.
Yeah, exactly.
Uptight.
High end, West Point are just knocking rings left and right,
Yeah.
Pinkies up.
Flutes.
You know how it goes.
Right. Yeah.
But like in Bavaria, everything is like there's that like in Hessen, it's ish. Like instead of ich bin, it's ich bin. Like very, very like nice,
Okay.
So that's the world I'm from.
Okay. So
not that you're. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not saying you're. I'm just saying,
Are you listening to this?
I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm listening.
I'm just saying you're probably comfortable there.
And people would start speaking to me in German. Yeah. Legit.
You look. I mean, you look.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like a German.
So when I went through there going to Bosnia, we were in uniform, and my maiden last name is very German, and so people would just start speaking to me in German.
What's your maiden last name?
Steyer.
Oh,
Steyer.
That's extremely German.
You would have been perfect to get a job with the gun company, right? Is it spelled the same?
Oh, I like the sight on the Steyer.
And you married a Dago.
I do.
Only you could say that, Parmigiano.
I love it.
I'm a wop. I can say whatever
I know.
I mean,
Exactly. That's why I said only you could say that.
The funny thing is I think it's Russian. They really don't know what it is. But my son's like, oh no, I'm Italian. Like, it's Italian. We're making it Italian.
Like, period. It's just Italian.
Yeah,
so cool. I knew this guy in Las Vegas. He was so Italian. The chain with the little the pepper on it or whatever it is.
That's Jersey Italian. That's not real Italian.
But anyway, his whole he was like
I had one. To be fair, it wasn't the IROC version. It was the Trans Am version. But yes, I had that.
And his whole identity was around being Italian.
Yeah.
And his kids got him like 23andMe for Christmas.
Oh, no.
So he sends it off. It comes back. The whole family's gathered around. Not one part Italian.
Well,
he was 45 or something. Destroyed his life.
You know my 23andMe story.
No.
Did you do that?
No, I'm never.
I was about to say, I would not think a man of your intelligence would submit your information.
No, I'm not doing it. But
it's not like they don't have it already.
But I have had a rule, since growing up around Italian women. I just decided I will never date or certainly marry an Italian, and because Italian women are just very tough. They're tough. Yeah. They are controlling on a different level. So I'm not doing that. And so I meet my wife. She's English, but she's weird English because she can tan, so it doesn't really fit in with the rest of their, little island. And anyway, she did one because she was trying to trace some of her family heritage and find some relatives and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that thing comes back and it's Italian. It's Scottish and it's Finland, whatever, but then the biggest piece is Italy and France and that region, and I'm like, wow, you tricked me. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
No, I haven't done that. So we have Native American, which you can tell I'm Native American.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
right
obvious.
There.
Obvious.
Me and
obvious.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I'm 8%. Way more than Warren.
Right.
Well, she's 0, so
exactly
an infinite amount more.
I don't want to take that away because we've been told, and there's this lineage with this particular person that there's a big group of us that are part of this Creek Indian Muskogee tribe.
That's cool.
And I don't want to ever
who cares if it's true or not?
Go away from that.
I mean, usually if it's fake, everyone's always part Cherokee.
But listen to this. This is what's interesting. We went up to Crazy Horse Monument.
Mm-hmm.
So when Joe retired, we took a year off. We traveled in the RV, homeschooled our kids, and went around the U.S. It was
That's cool.
Epic. So we stopped at Crazy Horse, and we're looking at some of the vendors and all Native American. And this lady looks at me. She goes, "What tribe are you with?"
Wow.
And I'm like, Muskogee? I was like, "How did you know?" She goes, "Oh, it's obvious." And I'm sitting there looking at this lady, and I almost start crying. I'm like,
it's true.
Validated.
It's true.
But what she said was that the entire, she goes, the whole town looks like you. They're German and Native American.
Huh.
She's like, you look like a lot of people in this town. And I thought, she gave me a necklace, and it was really cool though to have someone say, "Oh yeah, it's obvious, your cheekbones and your color," and I was like, thank you.
So I can't see it at all, but I had an employee for a while, had the same kind of look, complexion of you and everything. Mm-hmm. She was a quarter Native, and anytime a Native person was around, they immediately knew she was Native.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're registered with the government, the whole 9 yards. So it's
do you get
pretty
do you get paid or anything?
We did.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm.
So can you walk on a res and you're cool or not really?
I think it depends on the tribe. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't put it on anything because I'm not gonna. I didn't suffer from it. I'm like, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah.
Yep.
So I don't put it on anything.
Sinise, is the red light still on?
It is.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about Sinise. We like to have off-camera knowledge.
She is a rock star. So
actually a rock star, or are you just using it as an idiom?
She could be. So she is a lieutenant colonel, just a badass, on every level, airborne, asymmetric warfare. She's the real deal. And I can't sew, knit, cook. I can't do anything that your typical mom can do. This girl is an amazing chef. She cooks gluten-free. She's the healthiest person. She eats clean. She has 5 books out.
Oh, wow.
Candace, can you just get up for a moment? And Sinise, can you come over here?
Right? She's amazing. She really, I feel honored to be around people that inspire me to be a better person, and she does on every level.
So what are the books? Let's plug at least one of the books.
Right.
Space Aliens, Bad Mothers, and Guns.
Space Aliens, Bad Mothers, and Guns.
That's the name of the book?
Okay, that is the name of the next blaxploitation film that I'm going to write.
Space Aliens. Say it again.
Space Aliens, Bad Mothers, and Guns.
Space Aliens, Bad Mothers, and Guns.
Yeah.
Is the book we're going to plug, having never read it, just because of that title alone.
I'm in love with it.
Yeah. And
are you buying it right now?
I'm buying it right now.
Hey, let's buy 3 of them.
Okay.
We're buying 3 books right now.
If you look her up, she's an identical twin. and her and her sister go to all these events together, and they walk in the room, and it makes everyone just goes silent. They're just so stunning, and they're so smart, and they're so creative. And
Like Dreamweaver starts playing.
Dreamweaver, I believe we can
That's
get
why
me
I was
through the night. In their first novel, sisters, authors Sonis Lumbaka and Aisha Deraville present a diverse community of women in their individual journeys full of adventure. Some are viewed as heroines, some are viewed as heroines, while others are viewed as dynamic. There are twists, there are turns, and some unexpected cliffhangers and surprise endings.
Yep.
You'll pay for your whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Originally published April 3rd, 2017.
Yeah.
Black Feather meets the Twilight Zone.
Black Feather meets the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Black Mirror.
I was
Totally
like, what?
different.
Totally
different.
I was like, wow, I would not have put that together.
I thought she was building off of what we were just talking about.
Is it on Audible?
No.
We need to have you come here and we'll record you reading it.
Yeah, we'll record it on the house.
Okay.
Awesome.
Or we'll get Hollywood to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's got
You
that.
do have that voice.
Oh, he does. He does have that,
Yeah, that mellow, rich voice.
If I could only sing.
That rich mahogany baritone.
I'm Ron Burgundy, and I have many leather-bound books. Okay, so you're stuck at Fayetteville. For the love of God,
yeah,
your husband has made you stay.
Your husband has forced you to go to
Yeah, Fort
Bragg.
Bragg. Fort Bragg. Yeah, that
which
was
is very similar to Germany.
Where were you from originally?
I'm a military brat, so yes, yes, that's where I'm from.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how long did you punish him for making you? I mean, even
it's
though it was
still going
cool
on.
and romantic and
we met
manly
in
and
1991, and he's still being punished.
So the two parts of you were fighting. You were like, cool romantic gesture. I'm an
Yes.
independent woman, and like,
Fayetteville.
Why didn't you pick Germany?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you sacrifice for me?
So he called his branch manager,
Yep.
who happens to sit next to the SF manager and the Signal Corps manager at the time, or literally right across the hall. So they did all this, and I didn't know, and I was a little irritated, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
How did you find out that he did it?
Oh, he told me.
Oh, that's good.
He was
Well-
very young and naive.
What a fool! What's his name?
Joe.
Joe, if you're listening out there, you could have totally pulled that off. That you had nothing to do with it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but then the relationship would have been founded on a lie, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like you.
Oh, ow. Dang.
Hey,
He
hey.
went there.
No, it's true. I have been known to lie. I'm not gonna pretend with some holier than thou attitude. You know,
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
make counter accusations. If caught lying, continue lying.
And counter accusations, I like that. No, but it was funny because he was a captain at the time, and by the time we got to Bragg, I was a second lieutenant, which is like a glorified peon for
Yeah,
those who don't
yeah.
know. So I'm a second lieutenant, and I'm in the 51st Airborne Corps. I mean the 51st
Signal Corps.
Signal Corps, yeah, Airborne and Signal. Signal, and I have the largest platoon in the Army. We have 101
Wow.
positions for
That
this
sounds
platoon.
horrible. Like, honest to God, as a platoon leader, that sounds like a terrible.
I mean, the amount of equipment we had, and at the time it was a big number. We had, I don't know if it was 35 million. We had a lot of equipment because we had node centers and nests. We had these
Now,
huge vehicles.
was everybody together, or were they like dished out to?
We had a node center and we had a SEN platoon in the company. But yeah, it was a big
Yeah.
thing. But this is where it gets where I also want to hammer his cannolis flat. So we're sitting there, and here's this stud of a man, special forces captain. He walks in. I'm sitting there at Butter Bar, right? And we're waiting to go to a jump. So the hallways are lined, like
Yeah.
all my guys and girls are sitting there on the floor. And he peeks through into my office. He goes, "Hey, Toots, you ready?" Exactly.
Oh no.
That, yeah.
Oh, no.
Now tell me, what was I called after that?
You
Not
were
to my face.
You were Toots.
Lieutenant
You were
Toots,
Toots.
yeah.
Lieutenant.
I mean, no one ever said it to my face.
Yeah.
But I'd have bet a large sum of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That did not help you.
It did not go over well.
It did not help
At
you.
home, did not go over well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was weird having him, outrank me and stuff. Every once in a while I'd get in the car kind of frustrated
Yeah,
with the day.
but you catch up fast, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah, we were
like you were a
captains at the same
captain
time.
like 18 months later. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny because every once in a while I'd get mad or something. I'd be in the car and I'd be like, "I tell you what, sir," and he's looking at me like, "Who the freak are you talking to?"
That's
But,
hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny. But yeah, he's a great guy. He really is.
So are we allowed to talk about like cool stuff you did or no?
Some of it, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Tell us
For
about
goodness sakes,
tell us
let's
about the
get
cool
away
stuff.
from and talk about some cool stuff.
Yeah, get away from the husband and talk about the cool stuff. He did the
No,
cool
no,
stuff.
he's cool. I mean, that was
He
ballsy.
He
And
is.
admitting it, not
Yeah.
not a liar
That
like
was-
me.
That
Not-
was, that was
Beat you
dumb.
to it, Parmigiano.
Yeah, Hollywood would have been like, "Oh, that's so terrible that you're stuck here."
I wasn't even engaged at the time. No, so I was at 51st Sig, and then I went to 519th MI. She's over there giving me sign language over there. Where did I go next?
You have to say what those things are.
So I was 519th Military Intelligence, and that was a great experience.
Still doing a signal job?
I was the SIGO, yeah, for the
Okay.
battalion. So I was the IT person for the battalion. And there...
It's a thankless job.
It is
We just
really-
messed with our SIGO all the time.
It was a mess.
Like nonstop. It was like the
Yeah.
most fun thing to
You
do.
get blamed for everything.
Everything. Yeah. Internet's down. It's
Yeah.
the SIGO's fault.
Yeah.
Lightning hit something. SIGO's
Mhm.
fault. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then in military intelligence, they have a little superiority complex.
Oh, they think
there.
they're very smart.
But the battalion commander was awesome, and he let me take some of the courses.
Oh, cool.
So I learned just enough to be like a flaming idiot,
Yeah.
just enough to think I knew what I was doing.
That you were MI yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he wanted me to branch transfer, but then I was going to get out, and then September 11th happened.
And then you were like, I'm staying in.
Well, so I was pregnant when it happened. Matter of fact, I begged, barred, and pleaded to go to Bosnia, and this was before September 11th. I mean, I begged. There was no position, so they found a 25 alpha slot, so a generic officer
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
So I go over on the PDSS and
Mm-hmm.
the pre-deployment sites survey.
Nice.
And so I go over there, and I'm like, man, I just do not feel well. Something is wrong. So my husband had not been
He
home.
goes to the assignment people and he says,
Make her
"Get
pregnant.
Well, listen to this. I don't even know if I can say this. You might have to bleep this out. But so he comes back, and I don't know if it was Colombia or Bolivia, but it's pre-9/11. And I'm telling you, we were together, 24 hours, and I was head off to Bosnia, and we're over there, and I just wasn't feeling well. And we had an 18 Delta with us, a SF medic guy, and I'm like telling him what's wrong. He's like, "You've got Peter poison," and I was like, "What?"
Oh, no.
He goes, "You're pregnant." And I was like, "What?" And I'm like counting, and I'm like, no. I begged for this position, and I go to the clinic, and they're like, "Congratulations." So I was so pissed because I wanted to do
So
something.
you had to leave.
This was all a plan. See, he had
Man.
this plan. He's playing
Yeah.
the long
Yeah.
game.
Smart guy.
Pull that
yes.
mic over in front of you, Candace, a little bit closer.
So we go, I get home, and I'm pregnant with our first child, and September 11th, the day September 11th happened, my guys were on the plane to Bosnia. The main. So it was just crazy time.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I was
those were crazy times.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was nutty. So I was gonna get out, and I was out for 4 minutes. I got recalled to active duty. Went to 2125. They were mobilized under OEF, Operation Enduring Freedom, to help process the massive influx. So it was 15 months, 30,000 people coming through, just getting them trained and ready, and going through all the, reservists who had never been on active duty.
Yeah.
Going through and hitting all these, making sure they're dental and legal, and
Yep,
that,
all the
airborne,
all of
up
the
to date,
things.
everything.
Yep.
So I was briefing the garrison commander every night, 7 days a week. My husband's deployed. I have kid. I mean, it was intense.
Oh, I'm sure it was a
time period.
nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a nightmare.
Yeah, and then
You
from
know?
there, I got picked up to go over to JSOC, and then I ended up. That was where I ended up for 2005 to 2007. Is where I ended up there. Yeah. Interesting.
Living your best life.
I tell you what, that unit.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
once you go there, and as an officer, you can't stay there. Like when you're
Yep.
enlisted, they figure out these great ways to they stay there for 20 years. But there was no. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was there with T2 and McChrystal, and McCraven was going out when I was coming in, and it was Joe Becker. Just
And you
a
taught
phenomenal
them
group.
everything they know.
Yes, they'd never had a woman in the command group when we were over in.
Wow.
When
So you were the first?
I mean, I wasn't in the command group, but I was working in an environment where I was the only female, and they'd never had a female there. It was interesting dynamics. Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
great. They're phenomenal, professional. To this day,
People assume that those types of units are going to be less professional in that regard.
exact opposite.
Yep.
Exact opposite. I mean, I could have fallen down like an idiot, and they would have just taken. I mean, the most professional people I've ever worked with.
Did anyone there call you Toots?
No, because by that point I had done some
Because
hand-to-hand combat training.
Because they're not like your husband.
No, not at all. Yeah, no, it was a humbling experience because working at that level with that caliber of people, it kind of sets you up for failure in a way because you expect the rest of society to behave in such a professional manner and to have that kind of work ethic. So yeah, it was a little bit of shock getting out.
It's not true.
Not so much.
So what made you get out?
It came down between marriage and career. I mean, truly. So dual military.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. And so I don't know of a single special operations couple that made it. Not one. And then in the special operations community, the divorce rate is higher than the regular military.
Which is already crazy high.
Which is already insane.
Yep.
And then that's higher than the civilian world. I mean, so it came down and we were in a rough spot. We'd been apart almost 2 years. And it was literally, my faith, strong faith in God. And even though I wanted to, you're done. After that long, you're just done. But there was a point where I was just like, we got to figure this out. We have children. We made an obligation. We made a promise to God and each other, and so we went through a lot of mess. But we came out. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for
good
you.
Stuff. But you do after you put that much work in to
Yep.
getting where you are.
Yep.
And to give that up, I was pretty.
I'm sure.
Frustrated for a while. I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There was I'm trying to think about who. I don't want to put words in somebody's mouth that didn't use them, but I believe it was Meg Whitman. Anyway, at some point I was at Duke for grad school, and we had these like big CEO speakers, and I think it was her, but it could have been another crazy, powerful, successful woman. But someone in the audience asked the question like, how do you have a work-life balance and achieve, a great family life and a great career? And she shocked everybody, including me. And she was like, you can't. She's like, I had to make a decision when I had kids. I dropped out of the workforce for a little while. I did some part-time stuff, and I took a back seat and focused, once my kids were this age where they didn't need me as much, I jumped back in the workforce and I went doubly hard. And and so there are times in my life where I have, I've been 90% kids, 10% career. And there are times in my life where I've been, 10% kids and 90% career. And you have to kind of decide on that path for yourself. I thought it was really intelligent. Nobody wanted to hear that, but,
yeah. And you can relate as a dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
There is no such thing. People talk about work-life balance.
It doesn't exist.
It is. It's
Yeah.
seasons of life is really what it comes down to.
Yep.
It's seasons of life. And
when things are slow, I make sure that I'm home. Like I'll leave work at 4. I'll be home, or I'll make sure, essentially there when the kids get back from school. What do you want to do? But like this last week, I have not been home before 9 or 10 o'clock. It's been one of those weeks. There's nothing I can do about it. Things need to get done. So like this week, I sucked as a dad. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Like it,
But your kids respect and understand what you do and what you've done.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean,
Right.
Maybe like, 15, 20 years from now, they'll be like, Dad was the worst.
No, but you have older kids, right?
I do. I have a range. My oldest is a 22-year-old lieutenant. My youngest is 8.
Good job.
It's a long
Did
story.
you hear that stutter? I didn't know how to answer that. Wow. Yeah, good for you.
My wife and I both came with a couple.
Yeah,
So
good for you.
and then
Yeah.
we had some. So
Yeah, good for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
yeah,
They say it keeps you young. I say,
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I wouldn't change anything. But yeah,
Yeah, but they do get it. Like I heard my son. I just happened to be walking through the room, and our oldest, we have 7, and our 21-year-old.
see what you just did there.
opened up
The same woman that blocked Lobo just blocked me. She's like, "Oh, you've got 6? Well, I've got 7."
Well, you never said 6.
I feel like you knew. I feel like you knew.
But he was talking to our youngest, and he was it was amazing to hear the maturity and understanding what my husband had been, like, hey, Max, you know, this is what Dad was, and you'll understand a little better when you get older. And just hearing that maturity and the real understanding of what his dad had been and what he was doing and what he's doing now and the sacrifices he's making now to make sure he's home and being a good dad.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
Oh, it was beautiful. And I had to force myself to leave because I could have sat there and listened to the conversation, but
it's probably because of his great dad, you know?
Yeah, and that's it. Thank God that they have a good dad. I mean, let's be honest. Because I'm running off to other countries, you know.
This is the kind of show that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Total disregard for any
boundaries. What are those? What are boundaries?
So, you know, a really cool thing about you, and this will be our segue into talking about the Emirates, but you have adopted 3 children. Talk about that.
So technically, we are the legal guardians. We have 3 children that are ours under humanitarian parole. And I can't really tell them without giving you a little bit of the backstory. And you're very familiar with this backstory.
I am very familiar.
So you could tell it.
I think
he's always talking, Candace.
Yeah,
we want to hear you tell the story.
So when August was happening,
August 2021.
August 2021 was unfolding as the Charlie Foxtrot that it was. We were sitting there on the couch, and the reason I was sitting on the couch, because that is not my normal, forte of sitting still.
You like to handstand on the couch?
I do.
Like be in some kind of like a pike position?
Well, I usually vacuum while I'm cooking a souffle, just making sure I get it all going on.
It's not easy being, good at everything.
Right. So, it wasn't me. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble.
There is no in trouble on this show.
So, but I wasn't, ticks people off, but I wasn't going to get the COVID shot. I don't mind getting poked with a needle. I mean, I'm Army. They've given me shots. I don't even know what they are.
Sure.
I could care less. But there was no personal opinion. I wasn't going to get the shot. But I wanted to work for DART, for Samaritan's Purse, for their disaster area response team.
Yep.
And in order to go help.
They do incredible stuff.
Oh, that's such a phenomenal organization. Yep. So in order to help with them, I had to get the shot. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went and got the shot. I ended up in the ER twice.
From the shot?
With heart problems. So it was really bad. And what I didn't know, and my son didn't tell me until after I told him, is he had gotten the shot because he was JRTC at the time. And he was running about a 5:30 mile. He passed out on the track after he got his second shot with a heart, that heart condition that they say comes with it. Yeah. So apparently we have a genetic
predisposition to it, yeah.
So whatever it is.
It's because you're tall people.
It's because we're tall.
Is your husband tall also?
No, he's only 6 feet.
Okay. I have to say that I love hearing that. That is that's sweet music to my ears. He's only 6 feet tall.
He's only 6 feet.
Because, those of us that are taller, we understand what that means.
Right? Now, my oldest is 6'3".
I have no idea what that means.
Well, one of the criteria for the man I was going to marry, he had to be able to beat me at basketball. And I don't know if I've ever admitted publicly that he did beat me at one-on-one.
He did?
I might have let him.
How many hours in the emergency room were you?
Yeah, he's quite the athlete too. So, but anyway, I digress.
She's getting all teary-eyed here.
Yeah.
His athletic prowess.
She likes this guy.
Yeah, she does.
She likes this guy.
Obviously.
A little bit.
Joe, if you're out there, I wish we had a line that you could call in on, because our listeners have lots of questions, buddy.
Oh my gosh! And so my first name is actually Mary, so we're Mary and Joseph.
Oh wow!
A little bit of pressure.
That's biblical.
That's why I go by Candace.
Did you name your first Jesus?
Jesus. Yeah.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, I so wanted that to be true. I was like,
what's Joe's phone number?
8675-309.
8675-309. Jenny.
I really wanted it.
I know. Joe mentioned. I'm like, no, we're not. We're gonna.
Oh, he mentioned
hell.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to hell for that.
A guy that would get his girlfriend's orders changed would definitely name his kid
would definitely
Jesus.
Name his kid Jesus. Yeah.
But he's Zach, so if you're biblical, he needs to marry an Elizabeth.
Have you made the Lego Maniac joke?
No.
That was a commercial in the 80s and early 90s. Zach, he's a Lego maniac. I would do that constantly.
No.
I do that to every Zach I meet, but because they're all younger, none of them ever get it. But
don't you think
it makes me happy?
that if she was standing in a crowd,
Yep.
and you had to pick her name, Mary would be at the top of the list from how she looks.
I would go Steffi.
Yeah,
That is such an 80s name.
Well,
we're in love with the 80s.
It's because she looks German to me. You know,
I'll take
or like maybe Finnish.
I have never been to the fatherland.
But like it'd be like, you know, Steffi. You know, ich heiße Steffi. You know, like. Yeah.
I'll take it.
On the couch, two shots, heart palpitations.
I only had one shot.
Yep.
And that happened. So so we're sitting there watching this Charlie Fox unfold, and the phone rings. Well, it's Samaritan's Purse, and they said, hey, we know you can't deploy, but can you help us out on the phones? I'm like, absolutely. You know, we'll do anything. Because I lost a really good friend September 11th from Georgetown. And so not only that, but we all lost friends, and, and everybody in the military, and a lot of people did. So it's hitting us all pretty hard, and I'm like, oh, absolutely, I'll help. So I get on the phone and talking to this lady, Peggy, with No One Left Behind.
Yep.
And it turns out that there was a problem. They were trying to figure out something going on in U.A.E.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend from school, and I called him. I said, hey, do you know what's going on? And he's in their U.A.E. government. And he said, yes. And I'm like, really? So, and he told me a little bit about it. I'm like, oh, I wish I could help. He's like, well, do you want to come? I was like, why, yes, I do. And so Joe and I hopped on a plane, had no idea what we were getting into. We knew there was a refugee camp. Now, I'm expecting like GP Larges.
Now, what date is this?
We go to the airport the first time, August 28th.
So as she was flying, as she was flying to U.A.E.,
right?
Tim and I were flying from U.A.E. to
Albania, and then to Greece, right?
And then we drove to Greece. That's a whole different story, though.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to talk about that.
On your way to U.A.E.
So we get there, and they kind of shuttle us off the plane because we don't have, we didn't have our shots.
Anything, passport.
Yeah. So we get there, and we meet up. Someone finds out I'm in country. We get a call. They link us up with this guy, Ken Isaacs, who is the VP.
Oh, yeah. Ken's the man.
He is amazing. Yeah. I mean, just amazing.
He's like the most powerful man on earth. He can make like anything happen.
He's pretty, and he's humble about it. Like he'll be like, he'll get up in front of like an audience and say, hey, my name's Ken. I work at Samaritan's Purse. That's all he says. He doesn't give you a title or anything.
Well, he's like a real Christian.
He is.
Like you know what I mean when I say that. Like he's
Truly,
all in. He's not like
he's not a veneer.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's a real deal. So he finds out I'm there. Someone links us up, and we're on the phone, and I'm en route to his position. He doesn't realize it.
Yep.
And he says, so what do you do? How did you get here? And I'm like, well, I've got a friend. He goes, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I work for this organization, this DART program for Samaritan's Purse. And the line's kind of quiet. He's like, wait, what? He goes, you work for me? Because it's his program.
Yeah, Did you know that you worked for him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you knew who
you
he
were
was.
in on the joke.
I really wanted you to not know who he was.
I knew who he was.
That would have made it so much better.
Come on. So I knew who he was, and he didn't know who I was. And he's like, do you want to meet up? I'm like, I'm on my way to you right now. And so he's just kind of figuring out who my husband was, how we ended up there, what our connections were. So he takes us to meet you guys, basically.
Yeah.
And of course we walk in, and this is this is an elite group of guys. These aren't just knuckle draggers. These are elite guys from all over the special operations.
Yeah, this is a great group.
Arena.
A great team.
Yeah, and so who I call the MFIC, the one guy.
Yep.
So he's at the coffee machine, this guy is, and he sees us, and of course he does what he does.
Yeah.
And sizes me up very quickly, and 30 seconds, he's like, okay. Because you can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
You either were in a position that you know information or you don't, and we went down the rabbit hole pretty quick, and 30 seconds later, and then...
And he's so aggressive with it. He doesn't try to, pretend that, it's not... some guys will, they'll gently sniff around the edges. He lunges in and is like...
And gets very close.
And he has a very staccato delivery. Yeah, he's super close, and if you try to change the angle, I do, because of my personality, I would do it on purpose. I would keep changing because he would change his angle because he's mirroring. Yeah, he wants to create that little bit of anxiety.
Yeah,
So
no,
he's
but
very
it was
direct.
fun.
But you're not a person I don't think that easily gets anxious.
No, closer he
got,
the closer
you're not
I
like
got.
Hollywood.
Oh yeah, Mr. Anxious. That's me.
Always worried about what other
Yeah.
people think. And
I see him over there stressed out right now, actually.
yeah.
But yeah, so that happened, and then turns out I was in the room with a couple of the guys that were there. Actually,
Yeah.
Sean
And then Sean Lee
and I.
walked in.
Sean Lee.
And it was
Miss
Dreamweaver
you, man.
all over again. And you were like, man.
We
like,
had been in the same room when there was only probably about 20 people in the room.
Yep.
And about 30 stars in that same room.
Yeah.
And Sean and I.
Yep.
Which I was a captain, so I was a glorified coffee getter at that point too.
Yeah.
But so he and I had been in the same room. So again, you wouldn't have known it had you not been there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy to. Everybody was vetting each other.
Well, I mean,
quick.
when all was said and done, the two of you basically ran that place for a long time.
we did.
A
we
long
did.
time. So
Yeah.
for color, when we left, Afghanistan and then U.A.E. and came back, there was still the huge problem of 12,000 people that were in the Emirates, and a number of people were responsible for that. But one of the guys that really stepped up was a guy, Joe Robert, who had relationships there, and there was politicking, and we won't get into all that, but you and Sean were the ones that just said, like, we're staying and we're going to solve this problem. You were there for a long time.
Yeah.
How many months were you there?
So I came home a couple of times to watch my son play his first varsity game, et cetera, but I was there through the end of January of 2022. But
crazy.
yeah, it was UTC. I mean, when that one guy's like, hey, how much time do you have here? Because people have lives back home.
Yeah.
And Sean Lee and I both were like, yeah, UTC, man. Like, we're here until it's done.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so Joe Robert he's actually the linchpin. Like
He is the linchpin.
He is. If it wasn't for him, none of this would have happened.
100%.
It could not have
We
happened.
say it all the time.
And he does not
He
ever
is-
brag about that or really talk about it much.
I would very much, and I've talked about this with a number of friends, I would very much like to get him recognized by the government, because none of those people, and people like, people that don't know any better, they like to talk crap about like, oh, these people were stuck in U.A.E. or whatever. Listen, I promise that U.A.E. was better than where they were, and people don't understand how much the Emirates extended for these people. They were in essentially college dorms.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Well-fed, nice accommodations. Like, I'm sure it was very frustrating to kind of be
Yeah.
stuck there,
Right.
but
Yeah. It was amazing.
it was
We packed.
incredibly generous.
We packed thinking, because what we did is we didn't know what we were getting into. Like my church group in 12 hours, we got 100 stuffed animals. I'm like, I'm going over and handing out stuffed
Yeah.
animals. Like I had no idea what we were getting into, none. And I thought it'd be like GP mediums in the desert.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea.
That's what I thought it was going to be too.
so nice. The Emiratis. Let me
Yep.
tell you something. It was. I could never express my gratitude at their hospitality, and they bent over backwards. They're still bending over backwards. There's only about 600 left, and we got up to
Yep.
almost 20,000.
Yep.
And there's only about
Yeah, I
600
remember,
left.
like, shortly after, there were another 5,000, and it jumped to 17. It was
It was a mess. I mean,
it was a mess. It was a mess.
Anywhere else, that is the hardest thing I have ever been through. Matter of fact, these last 2 years, no matter what I saw over in Iraq, no matter what's gone on in my life, these last 2 years have been very hard.
Incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating.
And for the first time, just having conflicting feelings about our government and how they are perceived internationally, it's a hot mess.
It changed my confidence in our government completely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I've always been an optimist. Like, especially very political people, it's always doom and gloom. Like, one side takes over, the other side's like, it's the end of times, everything's bad. The other side takes over. It's the end of, I am generally optimistic that we as Americans will figure it out. And the lack of care during, starting from the fall of Afghanistan to present day is the most frustrating thing that I've ever experienced. And there's nothing we can do about it because the people at the top they do not want to help these people. And no amount of, you can get your congressman involved and they can care, but it's not enough. Yeah.
It's incredibly frustrating, and what I think is the sin of it is there's always a second level impact on every action that you take as a nation, particularly on this magnitude.
Yep.
And the negative perception that our country has faced and the backlash of that evacuation and where Afghanistan has gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. And now we made a promise that we would take care of our allies, and yet they're being their importance is being diminished. They're not being welcomed the way that they probably should have. And if it were not for this multitude of NGOs helping, I can't imagine the state that they would be in.
Yeah.
And we are literally, you've got these trained military men who are like, wait, you said
this, yeah.
Yeah, and you're not helping. Like, what does our government expect?
Yeah, like we're literally setting ourselves up for failure.
Absolutely.
And they're also kind of blaming NGOs.
Oh my goodness.
Which
cannot believe that.
Yeah.
If it were not for the NGOs, that would have been 10 times the problem. They would not have had the Emirati support.
They would not have.
Period. And that's 20,000 people
that
right. would have been, murdered, slaughtered.
That's right.
So
I mean, just the period of time when we were there, like basically up to the moment that you arrived, we had evacuated 11% of everyone that got out of Kabul.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. I mean, you were a CENTCOM asset. You had tail numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and how they say that we interfered.
Yeah.
I just want to be, let's go, I will sit with
like
you and go through this timeline.
We were in the jock, like we were on the wall, ComTF.
Yeah.
Like
and the relationships with the embassies, like they weren't running them. We were making these relationships. We were working with other countries.
Well, they thought it would die. They thought the story would die.
They thought
the government did. No one will give a shit about it. A year will go by. Everybody will forget. But
the veteran community
has not let it die.
Let it happen.
So now people are going, well, people are starting to send me. They're starting to see these other stories. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
The government fucking didn't do dick.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of swearing, Hollywood. There are ladies present.
I'm sorry. This is very offensive to me. The government is like, now they're like, oh my God, they're not forgetting.
Yeah.
It's the NGO's fault.
I can't, but that's actually documented that they're saying that it is our fault.
No, I know, and that's just, it's ludicrous.
It is absolutely the most, it's talk about insult to injury. Like, you insulted the veterans once, now you're insulting them again, because a lot of the NGO groups are run by veterans.
Yep.
And the story hasn't died, and you're starting to get some heat for it, and now Hollywood's making movies about it, and now you're going to look even stupider, because we all know that if Hollywood makes a movie about it, then it really happened.
Yeah.
And so
I do want to say that the first picture of you that I saw was I texted Sean Lee, and this was we were in.
I'm nervous right now, by the way, but okay.
We're in.
I can't wait to hear the story.
So we're in Albania. He may not have showed you the picture, but we flew from the Emirates to Albania because we brought 300 people there because they had a nonprofit that signed for all of them, and it was what was the name of the nonprofit? It's the one that's controlled by oh my God, the guy the
Hogwarts.
No, it's even in the book that I can't think right now. The guy that everyone accuses of Soros, Alex Soros. We actually were in a car with Alex Soros. Had no idea that's who had.
Was he driving?
No, he was not driving. No, and Tim threatened his life.
Oh, nice.
It was a wild ride. Not like he was joking, but so
not like Tim was joking, or Tim was joking.
So we had Alex Soros is George Soros's kid.
See how we made him tell the story?
Because you guys are just going to keep
exactly.
They have a nonprofit that was helping. I think they took on 2,000 Afghans. So
hold on.
Did I just do something?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Really?
Hang on.
What did you do?
Can you stop? Okay, now you crossed.
How now, brown cow?
She crossed her mic line with some power.
Don't touch the wood or
don't
my
move
lap.
in any way. Stay stagnant.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, so they were taking control of 2,000 people. So we brought 300 people there, and then it was very random. It was hey, my boss wants to meet with you, and take you to lunch, right? And Tim and I are like, yeah, okay, like, cool. Well, we get in this car, and we're like, man, this guy looks familiar, And then, like, Tim is very direct. He's just like, you're Alex Soros, with his, his like, voice,
Typical Tim Kennedy voice, yeah.
And we're in this car, and there's like a dude there's a driver.
9 guns come out from the front,
There's a guy sitting in the front seat, and then there's like a guy sitting with us. And Tim's eyes are like darting around, and he goes, you need better security. and Alex is like, what do you mean? And he goes, that guy, points to the guy, he's like, that guy's pretty good, right? He's like watching all of us.
Oh,
but
you're doing Kennedy's voice pretty good right now.
Yeah, but that guy over there, he doesn't know what he's doing, and you need more, because if we decided to kill you right now, like, I'm grabbing that guy, Nick's gonna take the other guy. Once we get our hands on you, there's nothing that you're gonna be able to do to us, and you're a dead man. And the security guy that Tim said was good. No. He starts laughing, and he's like, and he's English, so he's like, Mr. Kennedy, I knew who you are, and I knew that you were safe, or else I would have never let you in the car. He's like, but you are right, And he looks to Alex. He's like, we should have at least 2 other guys for you moving around. So, like, it was hilarious. There was a moment though where, like, everyone was like, so yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Classic Tim. Yeah. Always. But anyway, so we are, through him.
You were talking about the picture of her.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get back to that picture.
We meet.
Joe, you can stop listening now.
It's not that kind of picture. But I think.
No, it's not.
But I
we
think
all
you
know
already
that.
knew that.
We all know that.
You already knew
We're
that,
just having
Joe.
some fun with it, Joe.
But so we get introduced to the mayor of the capital, and he recommends a restaurant. So we go to this restaurant, and when we get there, they're like, the mayor told us you were coming, and they,
Nice.
So we text Sean. It's now, it's later there, and it's like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, we miss you, buddy. And he's like, got a new friend, and we're having mixed grill. And so it was the 2 of you, like.
Oh.
Having mixed grill, which is what they serve every night in the Emirates.
Every night.
And then Tim and I sent a picture of us, and we had they had given us a tomahawk steak, and so we had this huge tomahawk, and it was all sliced up, and we're like, we're suffering here in Albania.
Oh my gosh, were we in the Jock? Is that where we were eating?
You were in the Jock eating mixed grill, and it was your first day or second day maybe, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it was underwhelming, but as a story, but
no, it was a great story.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that you and Tim were suffering under tomahawk.
Yeah. It was a really good.
And it got us to the Alex Soros story, which was a great
Soros
story.
Yeah,
it was a wild story.
Yeah. No, mixed grill, we ate that quite a bit, I gotta say. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Very much.
A lot of mixed grill.
A lot of mixed grill.
But like I said,
is it called mixed grill because you have no idea what the meat is?
No, it's always like there's like some chicken, there's some lamb, sometimes beef, but not, it's usually like chicken, lamb, sometimes some fish. Yeah.
Just called mixed grill.
Yeah, so it's like rice, and then like, that's what they eat, mixed grill.
It's nice.
And it is nice for a little while, and then it like.
But I got spoiled on the coffee.
Coffee's great. The coffee's great, and it sounds like you didn't drink it, but they had that. It's like lemonade, but they blend mint into it, and it is phenomenal.
I did not try that.
That is what you're missing out on, and you should.
Is that like limoncello?
No, it's not. It's not like that at all. It's terrible, Hollywood. Terrible. So you spent 6 months there.
So we were there. So
living your best life.
Just
you and Sean Lee.
Tell you what, talk about a friendship, fortune, and fire, man.
I kind of want to get you guys together and just film like. Do you remember the what movie was it where it's like they're playing the monkeys, like we're feeling fine, and it's like one day, but it's like 43 different things. You're on a Ferris wheel. You're,
No,
Hollywood. Who are you calling right
Probably
now?
Sean. Hey, what's up, Sean?
Hey, we're live. We're live on the show right now.
and so are you.
Your name keeps coming up, brother. Yeah, go this way. The wrong way. This way.
She's over there.
No. What's up? Hey, brother. How are you? Good to see you.
We're literally talking about you right now. That's why you're getting a phone call. No, you're not getting fired.
No, bro. You're not going to get fired. And if you did, we would besiege the office until they rehired you back. You better believe that, buddy. All right. Love you. Just wanted to say hi and let you say hi to us, man.
I can't wait to see it.
All right, buddy. Adios.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
I do too.
So we need to shoot that. Just like
Yeah.
they're on a Ferris wheel, you know.
Yeah.
They're playing catch.
Oh. Now I get your song. Woke up this morning
And feeling fine.
There's something simple on my. And they're doing all these snapshots.
What is that?
It was
called?
Hot Shots. It was hot.
Heart do.
It was Hot Shots. It was like their first day dating.
I think it's
Yeah.
been used in other movies also.
But that's the one I'm thinking of.
I'm just
Hot
thinking you
Shots.
guys need to go on that car karaoke thing.
We have been known to do karaoke together.
One of these days we're gonna do a remake of
I
the
want it that
Backstreet
way.
Boys. I Want It That Way.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do
Oh, you
it
gotta
like the
give us-
music
give me a
video.
taste of it.
So our whole thing is that if we're apart for too long, I will send, or Hollywood will send, one of us starts it, where we will film ourselves like, you are my fire.
My one desire.
Believe when I say,
I want it that way.
tell me why,
Ain't nothing but a heartache.
tell me why,
Ain't nothing but a mistake.
tell me why.
I never wanna hear you say,
Whoo!
I want it that way.
So, yeah. It's not that we're good, we're just all in.
We are all in.
I'm laughing so hard, I'm not even making a noise.
So we will just send like one line back and like throughout the day.
When I finally left Qatar, I was in the business class lounge at the airport, which is like the Taj Mahal, and I did that in front of this big fountain in front of about 60 people, and they're all looking at me going,
that is great.
Yeah, not to get into like a super depressing story, but we got it. We went to U.A.E, then Pakistan. I spent essentially 2 months trying to get people to Qatar. He was in Qatar trying to make that happen on his end, and basically there was some fraud by some people. So then once that fell apart, we had to get safe houses, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But he's in Qatar, I'm in Pakistan, and there was a lot of I want it that way.
a lot.
That is nutty. That is nutty, guys. You gotta take that on the road.
We ought to, and we're going to, but we're going to do the music video first because it's going to be magnificent. So, you're eating mixed grill.
Eating mixed grill. Oh no, Lobo
See?
wouldn't have spilled.
Classy. That's what I got.
Do you do that often?
Once a day.
I'm
Usually it's with red
notorious
wine.
for it. Notorious.
It's usually just red wine, so this
Yeah,
is nothing.
that's better. That's better.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite moment of being in the Emirates? What was the moment when you think back, like,
To a good moment.
yeah,
Oh, I thought you were saying I was going toe to toe with what's his name. No, in retrospect, the first day I was there inside EHC, inside the refugee camp, I met this little boy named Sanaullah, and he was really struggling. He was by himself. He was an unaccompanied minor. We identified about 40 unaccompanied minors. Found pathways and relatives of some fashion or another, cousins, that they were able to move forward, and 3 did not have a path forward. Sanaullah is one of those, and he is now my son.
that's
But
so
we
cool.
met him the very first day. The very first day we were there, my husband and I met him together. My daughter came over and helped out. She was over 18 at the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she came
Yeah.
over and helped out, and then my son, my oldest son Zach, he came over for about a month, and he helped out as well. So they'd all met the boys, knew him, and so when it came down to they have no path forward, it was not even a decision. It was just, all right, well, we got to figure out how to get them over
Good,
here
good
legally,
for you.
and humanitarian parole was the legal
Yeah.
route to get them here. And it's been so we have 3 boys, and at the time there were 12, 16, and 16. They're just amazing. They're the hardest working. they really just they do not like when school's out. They're so excited to learn. The first time Wahid ran a mile, it was a 5:30.
Oh God!
The first time he ever ran a mile. I mean, they just do not know quit. Sanaullah is very slight framed.
Yep.
And Max, he and Max, my other son, are only 4 days apart. But Max is 14 and 6'1", much bigger.
Yep.
But when him and Sanaullah wrestle, he will not tap out. He would. I mean, they just don't know quit.
Yeah.
They don't know quit. They're so thankful. They do not complain. They really. They'd never heard "I love you" before. They didn't know when their birthdays were. They'd never celebrated birthdays.
Wow.
I mean.
Yeah.
Just the different way things happen, and the way it's unfolded, and how close our family is now, even closer, and to have the boys there.
That's amazing.
Did they speak English when you met them?
So Hamayun, the oldest, was like the translator for the group of unaccompanied minors, and but he was learning, and then Sanaullah didn't, and Wahid, they didn't speak it, but they learned really quick. They're super smart. They speak 5 languages. I mean, these kids are just amazing. We're so lucky, and
that's awesome.
It's been a road, because humanitarian parole, we get no help from the government. We get nothing.
No, I get it.
They do not pay for health care. They don't pay for anything. So it's been an interesting journey for us.
Do they fall under your insurance?
No.
You have to pay for that.
Let me
Are
tell
you
something.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The first time we went to the dentist, so one of them, the middle one, said his tooth was hurting. I'm like, let me see, and it was black. And this was right when they first got here.
Yeah.
Black. Took him to the dentist. He had 17 cavities. They went to take this tooth out, and it crumbled. She had to really, it just crumbled.
Yeah, so it became a big surgery.
It was that first bill. I told my husband, I'm like, well, it was shocking. It was in the 5 digits. It was shocking, and we had 2 more to take to the dentist. So yeah, so it's been an adventure. We bought a new house at the peak of the market.
Is anybody helping you with anything?
No.
Man.
But you know what? We were retired. I'm 50. We were retired on a budget, and we just we're back at work. We bought a new house, a bigger house, to make sure we kind of had room to accommodate this big family.
Yeah.
We were going to downsize, and then we upsized.
Yep.
So we're back at work. Joe teaches JRTC, and I work for a humanitarian organization.
You can say it. You can say you work for.
Yeah, I work for the Black Feather Foundation.
Yeah.
So actually, the founder is Joe Roberts.
Joe Roberts.
Joe Robert is the man.
He is. I would not, after learning about kind of this world and humanitarian.
And Patty just joined you guys.
Patty she's amazing. We have a great team.
If you met Joe Roberts on the street,
you'd never
you'd
know.
think, this
like,
guy's a farmer.
Is he a gang member or a drug dealer? Which one is he?
But when he speaks, he just commands attention.
Yeah. Well, he's got that voice,
Well, I interviewed him up
and
there.
to a regular person like me, he's tall. To you, he's probably like pint-sized. You can.
I interviewed him with the Moral Compass thing, right? And I sat down, and he started talking, and I looked at the camera counter. 2 hours and 15 minutes later, he'd been talking, and I was like,
the thing about him is he really doesn't seek attention.
No.
Like when we did the documentary Send Me, he didn't want to be interviewed. And I think enough people have now told him, like, bro, you did so much.
Yep.
He's still.
well, he stayed there for the whole 2
He's
years,
been there
right?
The whole time.
The whole time.
He's been involved this whole time.
He's been there the whole
intimately
time.
Involved, and he will not go back on his word. He gave the Emiratis his word. It was a relationship, his father's and his personal relationships with the family.
Will not stop until everyone's back.
And he will not stop. And not only that, but now, so that, not the easy part, but you get people out, it's quick, hard, the extraction, and then the lily pads were a little bit harder, a little more tenacity. But this phase we're in now, this acclimation to this new world, this is the long haul, and this is where people have quit, and he has not quit. And not only has he not quit, he's doubled down.
He's doubled down, and he's put in a lot of his own money. Like, people don't realize, how.
Yeah, there's no big government guy handing out dough.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Right.
The government keeps putting up more gates to make it harder because they want everyone to quit. They want everyone to quit, which, again,
Yeah. Well, Joe's not going to quit.
Joe's not going to quit.
No. And
No.
it is phenomenal. And he does need to tell his story because it is so instrumental in what
Yep.
has happened in thousands. And not only that, but think of that secondary and tertiary impact of these families.
Yeah. What
and
about the
long-
quaternary impact?
You know,
Or
that
the-
was my next
Or
word,
the
but I couldn't pronounce
or
it.
the quinary impact.
Army.
Is that an army
Never
thing?
mind, down the
Secondary,
road,
tertiary?
the
Exactly.
octonary and the
Well,
nonary
I
impact.
mean, we're going to get into backwards planning, and I know. Where is the 3-month calendar, or the 3-year calendar at this point? But yeah, so it's been. It
So
was
you
a
work
journey.
you work for Black Feather, the fine
I
people
do.
at Black Feather,
I
which
do.
it's like the name is like, do they help refugees or kill people? I'm not sure, or
Yeah,
both.
or you
I mean, or
decide.
both. Yeah,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, so we actually, our Keystone program is called Coaches. It's we're helping children through sports, and so we want to make sure that the children are able to acclimate through sports. We watched my boys go to soccer and wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and they have learned so much through the culture and being immersed in it.
Yeah.
And they've learned language. They've never had the organized sports the way we do. Acclimating culturally, they're learning how to cuss properly. I mean, that's important. When
It's
you're in
it's
high
important.
school,
It's
right?
important.
Yes, it is.
Right. And but not only that, but it's getting me involved in my own community. So we thought, wow, if we were able to extend this and help
Yeah.
the children, you're really helping the families because you're getting the families involved with the schools, with the organizations, and I try to explain it to people. Imagine right here, right now, with what you're wearing.
I mean, there's no other place I'd want to be.
If they dropped you in, say, Turkey, with what you're wearing, clothes on your back, and that's it. You don't know the language, the culture, the religion. You don't understand anything, and they're just like, hey, figure it out. And that's kind of where some of these people are.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It is a mess.
Yeah.
It is
Even the ones that they brought over and put in the camps, they had no way to assimilate to our culture at all, right?
Yeah.
You were there. You were at that
Yes.
camp in
Yeah.
Wisconsin or whatever, and
I was at lots of camps. So
and it was crazy, right?
when we got back, one of the things that the government asked is if we would help with all of there were 11 sites,
Yeah.
and so we mustered volunteers. As a new organization, we didn't have a volunteer base, and it was a nightmare. But the only assimilation that they had while they were in the camps was essentially us or the troops that were guarding them, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then boom, you're out.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
I mean, I can't even navigate the VA system,
but
much less.
But it's so short-sighted.
It really is.
It's
They set it up to fail.
Yeah, and also there is a threat. Like there are mosques that are very problematic, and if somebody doesn't have a place to go and they don't have food and they don't where are they going to turn?
Yeah.
They're going to turn to whoever takes them in, and
People have to have a purpose. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of what's going on in our country now. People don't have a purpose.
yeah,
Let me tell you, you get some trained people that don't have a purpose.
that's right. It's a problem.
It is a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah, give them something to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what we are trying to do is like we have a couple of programs, events planned, like we're doing an interfaith Thanksgiving, and we're providing food for different cultures,
Yep.
but we're also like, hey, this is our turkey, this is Thanksgiving, these are mashed potatoes and gravy,
Yeah.
and helping introduce them to the culture that they are now a part of. And we're doing a youth sports day where we're providing them access to different organizations that have opportunities to help them through, wrestling or soccer or basketball. Different organizations like that help with teeth, that help with their health care, that help them find jobs.
That's really cool.
So yeah, these two, and I think it's a great way to give them that softer landing, and provide them an opportunity to kind of figure it out without, falling off the deep end. And that's really what could happen.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You
it's
guys
a great
do
thing.
awesome work.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's an honor. This group that I'm with, top notch. I mean, and altruistic. There is no
Yep.
seeking attention.
I
There's no
agree. I agree.
stealing.
But going back to the thing that I've said many times, I very much would like to try to get Joe
I agree.
some kind of an award.
I know someone who knows him and who could talk to him. Yeah, no, we really do. He does need to get the recognition, and we go to these events, and his name is not brought up, and
Yep.
he's not. And I'm like, you guys,
Yeah.
I know how to fix that.
yeah,
We're going to come up and do a really nice interview with Joe,
that'd be great.
where he can talk about the entire story.
Yeah, yeah. I
Talk
think
about
we-
himself a little bit. That would be something would be really good for us to have, and we could use that for the award.
That's a good idea.
It's a,
Man, Hollywood, every once in a while, you have a good
well, I just woke up. I was over here napping for a minute, because
even a blind squirrel. Everyone
finds an acre, and that's right. How do we help your organization?
Well, the Black Feather Foundation, we're, just like everybody else that's doing this work, we're kind of new. So
Even though you've really kind of been operating for 2 years.
We've been operating for 2 years, but you're finding your rhythm is where we are. We're finding our rhythm, and as we're moving forward with these projects, and you don't even want to say it, but everybody needs funding. Of course, everybody needs funding to make these programs happen.
Yeah,
but
and it's hard.
Yeah, and it is difficult. And then, of course, volunteers to help us. We want to spread this throughout the country because there are pockets of communities, and we have it in the Florida area is where we're implementing this. I live in the Florida area. Patty, our CEO, lives in the Florida area. We have some people in the DMV area, the district, Maryland, Virginia area of the District of Columbia. But we would like to be able to kind of have this worked out, do our pilot programs, work out the kinks, and just be able to share this and spread it off throughout the country where these pockets of refugees are, and just be part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Is there anything else that you wish I had asked you about that I have not asked you about?
Yeah. So you still didn't ask me about my favorite cloud.
Oh, we did. We were going to talk just about clouds. What is your favorite cloud?
The fluffy white cloud.
Cumulus.
The cumulus.
For those that have watched Mr. Wizard, that would be the cumulus.
As I said earlier, the stratonimbus is my favorite.
That's a high altitude rain cloud. For those of you that don't know.
What kind of nerd group are you guys in? Who knows this stuff?
We are the king of nerds.
We are nerds. Just
nice.
the last show we had, we were talking about chemistry. We had like one of the leading lipid scientists on the planet, and like it was I was trying to hang with him, which is not easy. We were talking about the location of electrons in different molecules. So we are willing to go geek on this show. We're not afraid of it.
And I'd like to point out that Oppenheimer over 900 million.
Yeah.
So there are some folks out there that
being smart is cool.
You don't have to just be handsome.
It's not all about being a jock. All right, I get it. You were really good at basketball.
Can't we be both?
What's that?
Why are you trying to put me in a box? Why can't we?
It'd have to be a very tall box because you're a very tall. You're a very tall lady.
It's time.
It's time. Rapid fire questions.
Uh-oh.
You only get 10 seconds to answer each one.
I have to warn you, there is a little electrical charge in that seat.
That's what that sharp thing is.
And if you don't answer in 10 seconds, I push this button right here and you get a little shock.
So the first question I ask, always, it's not on any of these, is what is the toughest animal you think you could defeat in hand-to-hand combat?
Honey badger.
You think you could take a honey badger?
No, I don't.
Like a lion. A lion can't take a honey badger. You're like, what do you?
Probably a bunny.
A bunny?
Yeah, bunny rabbit.
Like a small.
Like a small
right.
baby.
You've obviously never seen the Holy Grail, Monty Python.
What fictional character are you most like?
Cruella de Vil. No, I don't know.
Her answers may be horrible, but at least they're fast.
I'm trying to be fast.
Weapon of choice, zombie apocalypse.
I wish I had my daughter here. She would know. Something about how about a machine gun?
Just like that. Like you were in the military.
How would she know?
M4. I like the M4.
That's not a machine gun, though.
But you know why I like the M4 is because you can do close quarters combat, and yet you can still, you still can hit those long shots.
All right,
we'll take that. That's a little bit of knowledge there. She sounded legitimate.
I was a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wanted
I want better. Wooden steak.
I feel like your girl back here
would have done a better. I'm like, I don't know.
What would you have picked? There we go. That's a better.
That's what I meant to say.
That's a better answer. What celebrity would you most like to switch lives with? And you can't give the wussy answer of "I love my life just the way it is."
Celebrity that God, I would not want to be a celebrity.
I know, but you have to pick.
Who's the host on Fox and Friends in the Morning? She's from South Carolina. Oh, what's her name? Fox and Friends in the Morning. The one that sits in the center.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on for one more day.
Who? No, she is amazing. She's so authentic. She's so real. She's smart, Southern, and I like because I'm a Southerner. What's
Ainsley Earhart.
Ainsley.
There
yes,
you go.
Ainsley.
Never heard of her.
Oh, she's amazing. Are you kidding me?
I don't watch
what is
Fox
your,
or CNN.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I cannot sing.
That's not what the question was.
Did I ask if you can sing? You heard us
Gosh,
sing, and we can't sing.
horrible.
Well, Hollywood kind of can.
So if I was, I would have to do "I Will Always Love You" because if I'm gonna be bad, I'm gonna
Okay,
be
well,
bad.
here's the bad news.
Here's the bad news. 10 seconds of it. Okay, so we can cut that. We can stop that right now.
That was like
that was.
That's almost.
I am not a singer,
it's
as we all
almost as
know.
good as
But
it was
that
gonna get,
that
yeah.
that was that was. We can.
it's
no,
like
no,
it's
you're-
like a mermaid's voice.
We can cut that.
If,
We'll cut
if
that
they want to
clip.
blow up your brain, you know,
Right,
like they hit a note that
that's
like
the mermaid's,
makes your
yeah.
brain explode, or the siren
This is
song.
hard. I don't like this. The first part.
Name
is
your
easy.
favorite car.
A Range Rover.
Oh my gosh.
You know why? Because I can't afford one.
You know, I'm gonna just jump in here for a second. I've wanted to buy a Range Rover forever, and I look at used ones, you know, for
Yeah,
$4,500, and but now I have a beautiful Suburban. But before that, anyway, you just know they're going to be electric nightmare.
Yeah.
My friend had one. Of my teammates had one, and it was like butter. I felt like I was sitting.
Yeah,
I
'cause
do.
it
I
has
like
air, it
the
has-
all-white Miami version that they had in Miami Vice.
Of course,
Yeah.
because we
That
love
is-
Miami Vice.
We love Miami
Yeah.
Vice.
My
Yeah,
God.
both the TV show.
I
Don
can
And the
feel
film.
Are you
it
Don Johnson?
coming in
No,
the
nobody's done.
night.
You know,
Crockett or Tubbs? Who are you, Crockett or Tubbs?
Do you think I'm more of a Crockett or a Tubbs?
You're Tubbs.
Think I'm Tubbs?
You're Tubbs.
Does that make
Oh,
you Crockett?
because you want to be Crockett.
No, I don't want to be. I'm neither.
Yeah,
I'm the.
I'm not like Crockett's a player, and I'm not that.
No, that's why you can't be Crockett.
yeah.
You're Tubbs. That's why. That's why I picked that.
That's right. Tubbs was more like he,
Yeah.
you know, he was
Yeah.
more of a family.
But those
family
all
guy.
white suits, linen suits, man.
Oh,
So-
okay. I was 19 in that time period.
Yeah.
So Hollywood had those.
I had the leisure suit, the white with the black shirt.
For years, back when I owned my previous company, for years, every Ranger Up anniversary party
Yeah.
was a Miami Vice theme.
Nice.
Yes, it was good.
Oh,
It was good.
I like that.
What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Have a 5-year plan.
Yeah, 5-year plan.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I'm like, you never know what's happening.
What's one job nobody could pay you enough to do, and you can't say work at the Emirates?
Again, it would be I wouldn't want to work at a flea market again, sorting out rotten fruit. Like I wouldn't do that again. You can't
Wow,
do
that's
that.
pretty specific. I think
That's
there's
a
some
very-
nightmares involved
That's
in
a very,
there.
that's a very
It's
specific
a little
job.
childhood trauma right there.
If you could invite 3 people to dinner, living, dead, fictional, non-fictional, who would you invite?
Jesus, Mother Teresa, and
You're going with like a good.
no, but
person.
it's Jesus. Who would not want to talk to Jesus? I mean,
true.
are you kidding me?
That's true.
All in, all in. And Mother
Yeah.
Teresa, if you've ever read her book, so I was working on my doctorate in Christian leadership, Christian ministry, and so I had to actually read about her. That woman. I mean,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively, a saint.
She was pretty good. You know?
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then
I
you
mean,
know,
it's possibly even better than I am.
maybe.
Yeah.
And then, it truly would be an Abraham Lincoln kind of, or the Culpeper. The Culpeper ring. Anyone from the Culpeper ring, just to have the courage to kind of be a spy in the time when spies weren't necessarily cool.
So just to be clear, you want Jesus, Mother Teresa, and a spy.
Yeah.
All right.
It'd be
Okay.
cool, right? Yeah.
Hollywood, you're ruining the show.
I'm not ruining the show.
ruining
believe
the
me,
show,
believe me.
Hollywood. Most interesting place you've ever been?
The most interesting place I've ever been. Hiked up a volcano in Ecuador. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like you casually, yeah, Ecuador. How many 7-year-olds do you think you could fight before they overwhelmed you?
If they're my children's size 7-year-olds, 1. If it's like an average 7-year-old, probably 4. I got some
That's
big-
not a lot of
I've
7-year-olds.
got some big kids.
My answer is like infinite 7-year-olds. I feel like I could take
No.
out 7-year-olds forever.
No, I figure 1 per
until
limb.
until like dehydration set in,
1 per
I could
limb.
keep fighting 7-year-olds.
Well, in Humanitarian City, there were a lot of kids, and they would kind of get a hold of you. So I actually know
you have
that
some experience.
do,
Yeah, but
yeah.
if you were just at like full tilt violence, like
yeah.
I feel like you could take out a lot of.
You
stuff.
could use them against each other.
Yeah,
Oh, so pick one up and swing.
Oh,
you could,
yeah.
you could
Oh,
swing.
yeah.
You can get
Oh,
like a longer
then
one and
forever.
use them as a
Yeah,
flail.
Until my arms fail.
So how come you don't have a book?
How come I haven't written a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sinise hasn't
learned you?
write it
Is she
yet.
going to ghost it? Is she going to
She
ghost write it?
should. I love to write, actually, but
Yeah.
no. I don't have why, no, I don't need, no.
You still haven't, you've given me a bunch of head shaking and no's, but you still haven't told me why you don't have a book.
Well, because I just started a podcast. You think I don't have time for a book right now. I
What
have
if-
7 children.
Here's your starter book
And 2
title.
jobs.
Your
We can
story.
improve. We can improve on it. But like, what about Mother of Afghans?
Yeah.
You know they call me Mom John.
There you go. Call it Mom
But
John.
seriously,
So,
you should think about it, and you
think
have
about it.
expert help over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she'll probably
You know,
knock
it's
it
your
out.
life, though. But do you think? I mean, it's my life. I don't look at it
It's
and think, oh,
my
wow, that's interesting.
life. No, don't sing.
I
Please.
know. That's what it is. I was whispering.
So you're leaving here, and you're going to Virginia.
West Virginia.
Almost
Yeah, it's very different.
heaven.
It's very different.
West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains. And Sinise is going with you.
Yes.
me home.
Country roads. Sinise is going with you?
Yes.
Where does Sinise live?
Denise, she lives in Vermont.
That's
Nice.
even further north.
Nice.
Well, because we
New
want,
England, God's country.
because
world traveler.
you've done such an amazing job today, even though I keep interrupting the final questions.
Yeah.
We want Sinise to come back and be on the show too.
Yes. She's a
We
rock
do,
star.
because
I told you
anyone
she's
that's
amazing.
written a book that remotely sounds like Mother Jugs and Speed has got to be on this show. Do you know that movie, Shanice? Shanice, it's
We're gonna go watch it tonight, though.
Bill Cosby's in it.
Oh my gosh. Is this from the 80s?
Yeah,
He
it might be
probably-
from the 70s.
He probably drugged somebody.
He
on
probably
this.
drugged somebody on it.
What's been your favorite age so far?
50.
Yeah.
Right here, right
When's
now.
your birthday?
In February.
February what?
February 13th.
February.
February.
My birthday
February
is
13th.
July 14th. I'm going to see
Mama
my
said
daddy for the first time on July 14th.
14th. In that movie.
Drop the bunny.
Gosh, Con Air, what a cult classic.
I'll tell you what.
Dude, when
Is it accurate in any way? No,
No.
it isn't. Is it still great? Yes,
Yes.
it
when
is.
Steve Buscemi, the serial killer, is sitting with that little girl in the empty
Yeah.
pool,
Yeah, and you're like,
You're
oh my
like,
God.
Where is this going?
and they're singing together.
Yeah,
Great movie.
it was a great movie.
And then they crash
Yeah.
on the street.
That was Monica Potter when at like her peak.
Her peak.
Like, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a pretty lady. Still is. She's in
Some
she's done
shows.
she's done a bunch of shows now.
Yeah.
She was in Boston Legal for a while, which is one of
Okay.
my favorite shows ever. What has been your favorite book read in the last year?
You're gonna.
Hollywood, come up with a bonus question because you're going to have the last question.
Okay.
I'm reading about the apologetics right now. So, and truly, the reason
I'm
doing
sorry.
the apologetics is because my children are Muslim, and I'm Christian.
Yep.
And we have these discussions. I'm like, there's only one truth. So let's find this together.
Mhm.
Let's and of course I know I'm right, but and so we discussed this. Like, you believe in Jesus, you believe he is the Messiah, but yet Jesus says that I am the Son of God. So either your Messiah is a liar, and your whole faith believes in a liar, or he is the Son of God.
Or God is smart enough to know that he can't go to all people in the same manner.
Oh, shit.
And God knows
Hollywood.
that he has to go to, this is what I believe, he knows that he has to go to other people in a different form.
And see, this is why I'm reading the apologetics so I
Wow.
can have these discussions. But it is Look
Look at
interesting.
that. Look at
That's
you
some,
come-
That's some deep stuff.
Look
right
at
there.
you coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we will finish this conversation over the next 3 years
Okay.
because it'll take that long.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
You've been married how long?
23 years. And some
What
change.
is the moment when you think about your husband that makes you go, ah?
We were doing hand-to-hand combat in the living room before children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know how to, because I'm a very big, very strong woman, but I know men are stronger than me almost all the time. So I wanted
Sure.
to know, hey, if a guy comes at me, what are the quick things I can do? Because I'm not going to defeat him physically, but I need to be able to get away or break something or, pause him. And then we started doing hand-to-hand with weapons, very safe, of course. He's trained. Close quarters combat was
Yeah.
his specialty. So he's like, all right, put a gun to my chest and I'll show you how you do it and then I'll walk you through it. So I'm being all cocky and arrogant and I'm like, hey, give me your money. But before I could do anything, he had the gun in 2 pieces, magazine ejected. It was just like talking as if he'd buttered toast. And I was like, oh, I love you so much. Like I just melted. I was like, man,
So you're not the kind of
So
lady
we were-
that's
we-
going to fall for the guy with like the tight like jeans and the IPAs.
We were on a cruise ship and the sun was setting and I turned around and he had a rose and 2 bottles of glasses of
And a
champagne.
bit of
No, not
poetry.
that. The day he disassembled a Beretta.
I'm not sure what that says about me, but man, that is maybe the most turned on I've ever been in my life. I gotta say.
See, that's why I asked that question because I
It
knew
is
it was
the
going to
east
be
and
so.
Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious
Yeah,
moon.
that was a pretty intense note. Yeah. It was,
Wow.
Joe, you're going to be on the show soon, so get ready, buddy.
Final question for me, and Hollywood can ask others. What is your guilty pleasure?
everything related to food. Like I kid you not, I cannot stop once I have something.
Especially if it's mixed grill.
Yeah, even that, I just don't. I love food. I really, really have a problem with food on many levels. Chocolate, anything. I'll eat anything. Like people like, oh, I won't eat that. I'm like,
I thought you were about to say you eat people. Like,
hey,
I'll eat a person.
if we're in the Andes and the
Right?
plane's
We
gone
play
down,
rugby.
I don't even know why people have that discussion.
Yeah.
Like, would you eat somebody
I'm like-
if
To live,
they were
yes.
dead and frozen and you need it? Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
we could hold out for like 6 months up there if there's a couple of folks laying
I
around.
might even hang out there for a while. Like, yeah.
How bad can it taste? We've all eaten
You don't have to pay the bills.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
have to deal with your
yeah,
neighbors or the
think,
hoa.
think of the great book and the movie deal you're going to have when you get out.
Like I bet like a person fillet is probably pretty good.
Slide that into my book. I need to go do that, and
You
then
know?
I'll write a book.
Then write a book about that.
Best moment with the kids, Afghan kids.
Gosh, watching them get off the plane, like you almost don't believe it's happening until they get off the plane and you see them. And I wanted to videotape it, and the video is like this because I'm jumping up and down. Like it was absolutely, it was the most beautiful thing. And the fact that they give hugs now, they seek out hugs. They never hugged before. They never said I love you. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Just being their mom is beautiful, truly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a gift.
You're borderline emotional right
See, I did it. I waited till the very end.
There's almost emotion. I don't think she's gonna let it out, but she's close. She's close.
Yeah.
There was a single tear that was like this, and then she flexed, and it was
Suck
like.
that tear back in.
Well, Candace,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show.
my
I
pleasure.
really enjoyed it. And if you've got any closing quick comments, feel free to look in camera and tell the people.
Oh no! Well, Nick is the real deal. Hollywood's the real deal. Sinise is the real deal. We got a whole room full of kind of Barney badasses in here.
I'm not.
It's
I'm like
awesome.
Nick and I are mediocre
Yeah,
dudes.
we're middle-aged dudes, you know. Well, I mean, Hollywood's
I'm
old.
older than you.
Hollywood's
I'm
old.
older than you. What,
Yeah,
what
but
does that make
but
me?
yeah, but you don't look old. Like you look like you're very young.
I felt like I
If
should
if
actually-
we were in a lineup and they were like, "Who's older?"
Nick.
They are not. They are not picking you.
No.
You know. So let's shelve that. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And something's
I-
beeping.
I
The
think
coffee.
it's
The
over.
coffee's
Yeah.
like.
The coffee maker's like, we're done.
It's
Coffee
like we're done.
burner
I
is
ran out.
still
My coffee's
on.
cold. I need more. Thank you both, Hollywood. Thank you, and Nick. It's a pleasure to finally actually meet you in person. Cause
Same here. I
we're
mean,
such
not that
great
I
friends.
didn't enjoy the picture, but folks, we will see you next week. This has been The Neutral Position with Nick Palmisano, but I feel like Candace is just going to take over the show. Let's be honest. Thanks, guys.